Please welcome to the stage the film's editor, Svetlana Vaynblat. Svetlana, thank you so much for your work on this beautiful film. Thank you for coming to New York to talk about it.
Thank you for selecting the film. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me.
As the film's editor, at what stage did you join the project to work with director Guillaume Ribot?
Well, Guillaume did all the preliminary work. He was the one who watched 220 hours. Yeah. Everything that Lanzmann shot. He chose the characters, he chose the places. Basically, the choices were made with respect to what's in the memoirs. If it was not in the book, it would not be in the film. So that was the criteria to choose. And he read all the transcripts. And so when we got to the editing room, the amount of footage was largely reduced. Otherwise, we would have spent a year working. So he did an incredible amount of preliminary work, yeah.
And do you know what inspired Guillaume to make the film?
Actually, I do. He was doing research, internet research for another film. And he just saw some footage, which he found on the website of the Washington Holocaust Memorial Museum. And he thought it was a mistake. How come that, some footage from, not the film, but the footage from Lanzmann's film is online? And he told me that he just hectically downloaded everything which was there. He just spent the entire day downloading. And then he realized after that it's not a mistake, that it's in the public domain and that anybody can actually go to the site of the museum and watch the film. And he saw several things which gave him the idea to make the film, one of which is this scene with the diamond ring, which for him was a pure moment of cinema. That's one of the things. And the second one is the last scene between Lanzmann and Antek when he takes him in his arms. He always told me that's what gave him the desire to make this film.
And what was your working process like on a daily basis, for instance?
On the daily basis, it's just like any editing. We just watch, we have the idea of the scene, we just watch lots of footage, we choose the text, and we try 100 million times until we think it's good. The pitfall was not to do exactly the same thing as Lanzmann, because there were many takes of the same shots. So you could, once we basically reproduced what's in his film, and then we realized it's the same thing. It's in the film already. And we didn't want to make a film about Holocaust. We wanted to make a film about someone making a film about Holocaust. So there was always the borderline and the difficulty of making the film, yeah.
I mean, today, and for many years, decades, the film Shoah is considered a masterpiece, a landmark project. It's so interesting to see the frustrations and Lanzmann's difficulties.
Right, because once you especially in France, even more so, even though it is like worldwide known, the film, but in France, it's even taught in schools. Even the word Shoah is part of the French language, which it was not before the film was made. He didn't invent the term, it comes from a Hebrew word, catastrophe, but he used it for his film, and now it's part of media, educational system, it's widely used. So that's just to say how important this film is in a French historical and memorial context.
And it's so interesting to see that he, as he was setting out to make it, he wasn't sure.
Right. He actually, I read his, memoirs, and you realize, well, from watching the film and also from reading the memoirs, you realize, first of all, it was not his idea. The idea was submitted by the Israeli foreign minister or something, because he made another film before that, Why Israel? And he went to Israel to show that film, and he met with the officials, and they said, look, there's no really, there's no film from the Jewish perspective on the Holocaust. And we have to remember, this is the 70s. The level of scholarly research was not at all like today. People didn't testify. There was several films with testimonies, but it was not at all something which was commonly done. Because people were still hurting from what they lived through, so they didn't speak. They didn't speak to their grandchildren. They didn't speak for film. So what he was doing at the time was quite revolutionary. And yeah, he didn't know anything. He didn't know there would be no archives. After that, he said, oh yeah, of course, it was obvious. I didn't want to use. We saw with Guillaume the footage where he goes to people who had some personal archives. We even edited this scene and we cut it out after, but he didn't know that. I mean, all the theory came after. So the film really shows somebody who doesn't know, at least in the beginning, he didn't know where he was going with this. And he struggles, and he's extremely impertinent, stubborn, and I don't think you could do this if you were not like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has both existential struggles and also very important mundane struggles.
Yeah, like money, like fundraising. Yeah, like fundraising. And he was not a good fundraiser. Yeah, definitely no.
Yeah. Some of the formal qualities of Shoah, I think, are reproduced or respected in this film, like, as you said, no archival footage.
No archival footage, no music. That was one of the things that Lanzmann, it was very important. There's not one note of music in Shoah which was not recorded on the location. That means there's no additional music. Well, obviously for us it was the same thing. There's no additional music. So there's several pieces here, but basically what you hear is in the beginning, and then when the German dance, but there's no voiceover in, this is the only deviation. There is obviously voiceover here because he's telling us the story, but there's no voiceover in his film, of course. Yeah.
And can you talk about, the opening scene is so incredibly beautiful, and the use of Beethoven's Seventh,
yeah.
And it comes back at the end.
Right.
Can you speak about those scenes?
Well, that's in the footage. Of course, we didn't edit. This scene is to show that everything he shot is like a fiction. There were many takes of the same thing, and the first take, his DP, his director of photography, he messed it up. The camera didn't go to the face of Lanzmann, so he does it again. And they did it many times. And what we wanted to show that his film is like a feature film, like a fiction film. He's not recording reality because there was nothing to record. He's constructing the memory because that's what he was doing. He was extracting. It's a film about how memory is constructed, basically. Yeah.
I think that became part of his method in interviewing people, right, to get them
He was very well prepared. When he went to interview people, he knew exactly what they were going to say to him. That was his method. He was a great interviewer, and he wasn't just going there fishing for answers. He did all of his research, and we see it in this film when he didn't know anything about what Srebrenik went through when he met him in Israel in the very beginning of his research. Well, he couldn't interview him. So he goes back to him and brings them from Israel to Poland. And by that time, he knows everything about the Helmno camp and how things went. And he prepared for every interview. In every interview, there's hours and hours. And he interviewed, 100 people or more, a lot of people, yeah. So it's a detective work. Yeah, same thing with German, and everything with Germans was shot with a hidden camera, which was unheard of. Yeah.
It's quite an astounding scene in the church with the curate. What happened next in the footage? I mean,
well, he never admitted on camera. He never admitted that people were locked in the church. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I read that you started your professional career as a classical pianist.
I did, yes.
And do you see a kind of connection between music and film editing?
Yeah, I think there's a connection. There's always question of rhythm and musicality and not non-verbal language. Even though there are words in cinema, it's a non-verbal language overall. So yeah, there's similarities, definitely.
I want to just read a little quote from Guillaume, and maybe you could comment on it. He said, "The theme of Shoah is genocide. The theme of this film is cinema, mise en scène, and a man's obsession."
Yeah, this film is not about Holocaust. It could be for some people, but I mean, definitely several interpretations are possible. But it's a film about life. It's a film about how one creates another film. So, and what's amazing is the colors, which are very different. If you see a Shoah, it's very bluish, it's very cold. The color grading is very different. It's absolutely different from this one, which respects the natural colors, basically, of the footage. So this film is about life, about how he overcame, basically, all the difficulties, because it was very difficult for him. And Shoah, yes, about death, yeah, as Lanzmann says himself. Yeah, so it's not about the same subject matter, yeah.
And what can you tell us about where the film has been seen and what the future plans would be?
Well, the film was premiered in Berlin at the Berlin Film Festival last year. The reception was very good. It was released in France in movie theaters. It's playing on the French like a PBS equivalent in France, which is Arte. It's playing every day, so many people can see it. It will be released on video, I think, in the US. It went to many prestigious festivals, so I think it was seen, by many people. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, and I want to give a shout out to Janus Films and to Brian Belivorak, who worked with us on this screening. From what I understand, it'll eventually be on Criterion Channel, which is great.
Yes.
And there's also a planned re-release of Shoah.
Yes, together, yes. Like they just did in France. They re-released on Blu-ray Shoah plus another film by Lanzmann and this one, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Svetlana.
Thank you.